Alright, hello everyone. Welcome back to a new video on the Ford Escort. So are we gonna get it started today? Let's find out. Alright, so we're gonna start out by replacing the water pump, the tensioner, and the drive belt. Ooh. Alright, so to gain some access, we're first going to remove this coolant hose and loosen the bracket of the alternator to remove the belt of the alternator. Bro, this was inside here. And now for the alternator bracket. Alright, maybe I should remove this bracket as well. Okay. There we go. Alright, and there we have it. We're gonna replace this one eventually as well. All right, and now for the crank pulley. This is going to require some big boy force. Yes. There we have it. Can I undo it by hand? Oh, I can actually. Come on. Oh, yes. And there it is. So now I would be able to remove the pulley, right? Alright, I'm gonna need to look up how to remove this pulley. Alright, so the internet said, brute force, baby, brute force. So that's what we're gonna do. Where's my crowbar at? There's my crowbar. Here's my hammer. Here's my hammer. That's for tomorrow. Alright, so let's try from beneath the car. We're obviously going to give this a clean. Brute force, baby, brute force. Oh, it's coming. More brute force, baby. Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There we go. Oh my God, it's completely damaged. I'm joking, I'm joking. Alright, so while we're in here, we're also going to remove the lower part of the timing belt cover. The other day, somebody wrote a comment saying, M539 restorations from Temu. Thought that was pretty funny. There we go. And that's the lower part of the timing belt cover. You see the zero there? So if the timing rib of the crankshaft pulley lines up with this zero, it means that the engine is at TDC, or top dead center. Alright, so we're obviously going to give this a clean, but for now, let's continue up top. Alright, so next up, we're going to remove the tensioner. Oh, there we go. See, that's now loose. So now, we can remove our belt. There we go. That's a hell of a difference with the new one. So now we're going to remove the tensioner. Alright, and that's the old tensioner removed. It's made by Ina. That's the same manufacturer of the pulleys on the M3. And yes, that's interesting. So obviously this is the old one and this is the new one. So now we're going to remove this crusty old water pump. That's a rather suspicious looking bolt. Brute force again. Oh, there we go. Oh, there's actually coolant dripping out. Here we go. Oh. Oh, damn. Damn. Wow. All right. I guess that's why the engine wasn't spinning so smoothly. That's crazy. I literally can't even move this with my hand. That's crazy. Well, this is going straight to the bin. That's not looking too pretty, isn't it? Yikes. Alright, so I think the idea is to flush the engine to get all the really thick crud out. Then we would need to scratch away this gasket before installing the new water pump with the new gasket. All right, so as we have to install a new water pump gasket, we would first need to remove the old one. All right, well, this is boring anyway. I'm gonna do this off camera. Be right back. All right, I'm back. This is a lot better, as you can see. I managed to remove the gasket and gave the surface of the water pump area a bit of a clean. So this should be good enough for our new gasket and water pump. All right, so to reinstall the new water pump, we would first need to prepare the gasket. So the repair manual says to smear RTV on this side and on this side. So I bought this stuff. Pretty, no. Functional, yes. All right, so on second thought, I applied a thicker layer of RTV. So now we're going to carefully put this on here. And yes, the area is completely dry. All right, so that is lining up properly now. Now for the install of the water pump, which we have treated with some XCP rust blocker. This stuff. Then we're going to torque them to spec. Now for the install of the tensioner, we're going to screw this in loosely as we would still need to time the engine and reinstall the drive belt. Alright, so these are still loose as you can see. Alright, so before installing the timing belt, we would first need to make sure that the engine is at top dead center, both the camshaft pulley and the crankshaft pulley down there. So we know this camshaft pulley is at top dead center when that hole over there is perfectly aligned with that arrow on the camshaft pulley, which it is now, won't you agree? All right, and for the crankshaft pulley, we would need to make sure that this pointer over here is perfectly aligned with that rib over there, which seems to be the case. So the engine is now at top dead center, so it's time to install the timing belt. So after removing the crank pulley bolt, we're now going to go ahead and install our new timing belt. So we're going to start down there. It's a tight space, I can tell you. Okay, that's on. Then we're going to put a bit of tension on here to get it over the camshaft pulley. Like so. I believe we have it now. It's pretty much along the middle as well. Push our tensioner to the right and tighten this. Looks pretty good to me, actually. All right, so off camera, I went ahead and installed the lower half of the timing belt cover, as well as the pulley for the alternator over there. So another way to see if the engine is at top dead center is, well, I showed you this one before, right? And the other one is when that 0 and the large rib lines up with that notch of the alternator pulley. If I go like so, you can see that it exactly lines up. So that means that the engine is still at top dead center. Good. So now I'm going to go ahead and remove the starter motor that is somewhere over there so that I can lock the crank and tighten up the crankshaft bolt. Alright, so the starter motor has been removed. I'm not even able to move it out, but that's not necessary as we would only need to lock the flywheel. So as you can see, there's the flywheel. So now we're going to stick something in there so that it locks so that we can tighten the crankshaft pulley. Alright, so with one hand we're going to lock the flywheel, and with the other I'm going to tighten the crankshaft pulley again. Alright, so with a beefy screwdriver I'm going to hold the flywheel, and then with this arm, oh yeah. Ugh. Let me try one more time. Yeah, baby. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. So I'm going to reinstall the starter motor and double check if the timing is still correct. Alright, so I double checked timing and everything is in good order. To check if the timing belt is well tensioned, you would only be able to twist this 90 degrees sideways like so, only just, which is the case. I'm confident this is well tensioned. Now it's a matter of putting everything back together and continue. All right, so up next, new air filter going in. We're gonna give this a quick clean. All right, that's a lot better. That's solid again. Vacuum line. So welcome to this organized chaos. So now we're gonna put back together the fuel pump assembly. I don't know if you can remember from last episode, you 3 people watching, I broke the original ones, so I bought these new from Febi, whatever they're called. So we're gonna start out by installing these in the bracket. All right, so that's one side. So now we're gonna install the fuel pump with this bracket and the 10mm bolt. All right, so I messed up the sequence with the vibration dampers. Let me go ahead and fix that off camera. All right, so this is how you want to have it. Now we're going to tighten it up from all sides. All right, and there we go. That's the bracket complete. All right, so now we can install the fuel pump. So fuel pump in here, bracket like so. Sturdy. All right, so this is now ready to go in the car. All right, so now for the assembly to go back in the car. Electrical connections that way. All right, so the holes of the car don't line up with the bracket, so I'm gonna move the fuel pump a bit backwards in the bracket. All right, that's better. There's actually a space for this ridge to fit in, so this is basically the only way to fit it. All right, so that's the new fuel pump installed. All right, so before the reassembly of the fuel assembly, we're going to make some new fuel lines, as these are rock hard. So I bought some new flexible fuel lines, so we're going to cut these up to size. There we go. There we go. So these can go in the trash. So with some new clamps, we're going to continue with the fuel assembly. All right, so here's the first new fuel line installed, and here the second one.
All right, so then it was time to put everything back together. I set up a little time lapse in which I reinstalled the tank, the vent hoses, the fuel lines, and electrical connections. It was a bit of a squeeze and not ideal doing this by myself, but in the end I managed to get it done.
All right, so there we have it. That's our fuel tank installed. We have ourselves a new fuel pump. We have ourselves some new electrical connections. We refinished the bracket. We replaced some worm clamps here and there. We replaced these flexible fuel lines. I'm still waiting for one of these quick connect fittings. I expect to receive these soon. So the fuel sending unit inside was still working. I tested this out with a multimeter, as well as all the connections to the fuel sender unit. I also replaced the zip ties and put them in their original spot. So yeah, that's about it. The fueling system should be fine from this side of the car. Yeah, and also to let you know that the quick connect fitting is now also in. So now it's properly assembled. So let's continue. All right, so another thing we'd need to do before starting the engine is taking a look at the fuel injection system. So as you can see over here, we have a broken fuel line. So funnily enough, the previous owner had the plan of replacing the fuel line with a good one. Also, I found this bad boy in the trunk of the car, suggesting that there was one missing. And yes, there was. So as you can see, there's a fuel line missing going from here to there. Off camera, I removed one of these fuel injector things. It was a bit rusted up, so I gave it a clean, and I'm gonna do that for all of these so that we have clean fuel flowing through the injection system. I'm not gonna show you the whole process. So with the magic of editing, editing. As you can see, there's now a new fuel line over here, and all these things have been cleaned up, and I've put new O-rings in them, and I've also replaced this one, the broken one. All right, so now we're going to remove this old battery. You think this bracket looks good? So I have seen cars where the metal below the battery is completely rusted out, so let's hope that's not the case for our car. Be good, be good. Okay, yeah, it is a bit rusted. I have seen worse, so I'll take it. All right, so we're gonna give this a quick clean before installing the new battery. All right, so now that that's cleaned up, we're gonna install our new battery. A sick Bosch battery. And reinstall this bracket holding the battery down. Yeah, that's going nowhere. All right, so I also bought these battery cable clamps because the old battery had different battery terminals. So this is the negative cable, which I'm supposed to connect to here. So with this, I'll be able to clamp it in between here and then put it on the battery. It's not the most good looking solution, but it's all I have for now. And it gets even worse with the positive terminals of the battery. As you can see, I bundled all these 4 cables up to one. Unfortunately, this is the battery clamp I have to work with. This part is never gonna fit these cables. That could be a temporary solution. In the meantime, I will then order a different battery clamp. All right, I think I'm gonna do it like so. Clamp this in here like so, and then tighten this one. That's actually pretty sturdy. I know it's very temporary, just wanna see what the car does when the battery is connected. So don't worry, now let's go ahead and do the other terminal. Let's try this. I'm actually pretty excited to see what happens when I connect it. Ooh, lights are going off. I'm gonna go ahead and refit this a bit better off camera. So as you can see here, there's actually a light going off. Look at that. So that works. This one works as well. Oh yeah, these tail lights are not working. I knew that because, well, the whole units were missing. Yeah. Okay, to be continued. There's even lights going off in the interior. Oh, it's making sounds. All right, interesting. Let's see what happens if I... Nothing. Oh wait, there's a light burning over there. Should that be the immobilizer or anything? I think this is it. Guess so. What happens now? Oh my god. Wow. All right, well, the windscreen wipers work. Car's alive, people. The blowers work. Interesting. Low oil pressure, you're kidding. I want to see if it turns over, actually. What's this? Oh, that kind of works. What's this then? Fog lights? I'm not sure. I kind of want to turn it over. You want to turn it over? Let's turn it over. We have no fuel, no spark plugs, so let's see what happens. That's the immobilizer. Ooh. All right, well, here goes nothing. I'd say that's spinning smoothly. Promising. Oh yeah. I mean, if we just connect the ignition, put fuel in the car, and reseal the valve cover, I don't see why this car won't start. That's obviously an ideal situation, which rarely happens when working on cars. But we're gonna give it a try, aren't we? So let's go ahead and get this baby started. All right, so let's start out with 4 new spark plugs. And torque them to spec. Easy. All right, so next up we're going to install the ignition leads. We obviously would need a spark for the engine to fire up. So this cap should go like so. I have no idea if this is correctly timed, but I guess we'll find out. Off camera, I've cleaned these ignition points. So then we're going to put this cap on. Then we're going to connect this lead. There we go. Then we're going to reconnect this connector. Then the ignition leads. So next we're going to temporarily reinstall the valve cover. Should the engine run well, we're going to change the valve cover gasket and the oil anyway. Although we're going to run the engine without coolant, we're going to reinstall the coolant lines anyway, as well as all the vacuum lines. And that's on. All right, so next up, fuel. Apparently the fuel filler neck is completely mangled. Not sure what happened there, but for now we're just gonna fill it up. Oh God, oh God. Oh no, we have a leak. No, we don't. Of course not. Well, let's see if we can fire this bad boy up. Let's see what happens. Come on. No luck yet. Okay, nah. Well, the start you need? Apologies, people. I wasn't able to get it started. The car is not getting any fuel. I'm not sure why. So it may have to do with the fuel pump relay or something with the fuel distributor or maybe a lack of fuel pressure. I'm just not sure. I'm gonna go ahead and do my research. It is a bit of a fail, but I wanted to bring out some content and not keep you guys waiting any longer. So hopefully we're gonna get it fixed in the next episode on the Ford. So the M3, the car's been standing again for a couple of months already. I do have a video coming up on the M3. However, I would first need to get this car off the car lift in order to get the M3 inside. Because yes, we're gonna do some upgrades to the M3. You 5 people watching, if you've made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching everything of it. Please consider leaving a like and maybe subscribe if you like what you see. Really helps out the channel, and I'll catch you guys next time. We're live! We're live! Alright. Alright, so while we're in here, we're also going to remove the lower part of the timing belt cover. Alright, so here's the first new fill. Alright, so here's the first fuel line installed. Alright, so here's the first new shit.